Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. Settle into a comfortable position. Relax and simply listen to these words as I lead you into an experience of who you really are. For this, it will be helpful to just notice the sensations related to your breathing for a minute. Just notice how the air feels as it enters and leaves your nose, how your chest rises and falls as this happens, and notice any other sensations as you give your full attention to your breath for a moment. The reason that paying attention to your breath is helpful is that it relaxes you and helps you experience your body as it exists in this moment. This may sound funny, but most people, most of the time, aren't aware of their body. They live as if they are a head detached from the body, busy noticing their thoughts, as if they were watching clouds passing by, mesmerized by the movement of thought, carried along on the thought train, so to speak, without even realizing this. This is the state most people live in, and that's natural. But to experience yourself as something other than what your thoughts say that you are, you have to move out of this state of fascination with your thoughts and become fascinated with what your body is sensing, what it's hearing, feeling, seeing, smelling, tasting, and sensing on more subtle levels, including energetically. This is what most people are not conscious of. To shift your consciousness, it makes sense that you have to shift your attention away from what you're usually attending to something else, and that something else is whatever you're sensing with your senses. There isn't anything else to shift your attention to, since the body and senses are how you experience the world, how you experience real life, reality. Your being is using your body to experience life. It has no other way of experiencing life. There is no other way of experiencing life, real life that is, than with your body. So the only way you can experience your true self, who you really are, is with your body. The mind was built for a different experience. It was built to imagine something other than real life, to think about life. And that is so very useful, but the mind isn't useful for experiencing the here and now. How wonderful, though, that you can do both, experience reality and imagine something else. Your imagination is a marvelous tool for creativity and for necessary planning. It's just that you need to learn to use this tool, the mind, for what it's good at, and not let it use you. You must be the mind's master, not the other way around. That's the only problem. Who or what is determining how you're using your mind? Sit with this question a moment. Again, who or what is determining how you're using your mind? There's a you that uses your mind, and there's a you that's created by the mind. One is a conscious use of the mind, and the other is an unconscious, automatic, programmed experience of being identified with the mind in such a way that the mind is defining you and telling you who you are and what to do. This is interesting, isn't it? Your default is to have a mind that tells you who you are and what to do, and then evaluates all the doing that it instigates. But this leaves out a lot of life. It leaves out the real here and now experience of your body and senses. The only time most people turn their attention to their senses is when something exceptional is happening on a sensory level, when they're experiencing pleasure or pain. And even then, they usually don't stay with that experience very long before they're back in their minds, thinking and imagining, worrying and planning, judging and forming opinions. The mind is very busy. Let's stop a moment and just notice the activity or inactivity of your mind, now that you've been just sitting and listening for a while. What is your mind like right now? Is it wanting to think about something else? Is it evaluating my words? Is it trying to have a particular experience? Or is it relatively quiet and attentive? The mind can be attentive. It's probably attentive right now, wondering what I'm going to say next. What is it that's attentive? This is a great mystery, isn't it? It isn't the voice in your head that is attentive, because that's what is not attentive. What is attending to these words? Is it the mind, or is it something else? Take a moment to notice what's attending to these words. What is it like? What is attending to these words is not the mind, but what uses the mind to attend. It's the same thing that uses the senses to sense the world. This is who you really are. Sometimes I refer to it as your being, for lack of a better word. Words are useless to describe this, because words label and describe things, and what you are is not a thing. It would be more accurate to describe who you are as all things, or everything, or that which is not separate from anything, than a particular thing. You are what is attending to life, what is experiencing life through your body-mind. You are this attentiveness. You are that which is experiencing these words as sounds and using the mind to interpret their meaning. Who you are is that which is listening and experiencing this moment and awaiting the next word. Let's do something for a moment that will give you more of a sense of this attentiveness, this curious, alert attention that you are. I'm going to say a word, and then at some point, I'll say another word and then another. In between each word will be a space of time when you know I'll be saying another word, but you won't know what that word will be or when I'm going to say it. So listen carefully. Here's the first word: love. Beauty. Silence. You. Blue. Tree. Beloved. Banana. Brilliant. These words undoubtedly evoked an experience in you as you awaited the next word. Did you experience what the word evoked? And did you also experience curiosity and anticipation of the next word, the next moment when a word would show up? This is how your being experiences life. It experiences what arises in the moment fully, along with a curious love for what comes next. You are this curious, attentive presence that touches each moment with wonder and gratitude and love. Now it's natural that you don't always experience this attentiveness and curiosity, but it's important that you do experience this some of the time. And the more you experience this, the happier you'll be. What you experience in this life is your choice, really. Once you shift away from thinking your thoughts, it's easy to experience your being's attentiveness and curiosity. But because of your programming, it's not so easy to stop thinking long enough to experience this. And not thinking is what it takes. You have to stop thinking, or you won't be able to be in your body and senses and in the present moment to experience your being enjoying the present moment. Your being also enjoys thinking, and thinking is fine when thinking is needed. But what happens when you're lost in thought is not very practical or useful. What happens is that you get lost in thoughts about a self that doesn't even exist, although it appears to exist. That's the catch. This self, the false self, seems so real and so important to give your attention to, while it isn't. What a tricky illusion this is. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to repeat a variation of the listening exercise we just did, now that you're more familiar with it. And just notice both the experience of the word, what experience it evokes in your body, not any thoughts about it, and your being's curiosity and attentiveness as you await the next word. Light. Lime. Pond. Circle. raspberry, be careful, time, ocean, thank you for your attentiveness. May you always be this attentive. I am with you always.